Hi, so my buddy Justin from Rogue Bond Lifestyle very kindly left a comment on my YouTube video where I did the reaction to the new No Time to Die trailer, and he said I need to do another one because there was the international trailer as well, and I hadn't actually seen that one yet, so I thought, you know, what the hell, and I just watched it for the first time just so I could get my overall impressions, and now I'm going to watch the trailer again, and I'm going to stop it at certain points and just talk about things that impact me. So let's get started.
James, fate draws us back together. Now your enemy is my enemy. How did that happen?
Well, you live long enough.
Okay, so that was really interesting. It's a completely different approach from the way they did the US trailer. So, I mean, they are definitely harking back to certain narrative elements they didn't really visit in the other trailer, like Blofeld being there. I love the whole thing of like, now your enemy is my enemy. That's all a concept from Ian Fleming. He wrote Your Enemy's Enemy is Your Friend. And so it's kind of interesting that Blofeld's back, and obviously he has some kind of interest in whatever is going on, but it looks like he's on the same side as Bond for the first time.
Harder to tell the good from bad, villains from heroes these days.
See, that's another line from James Bond. I think it was from the original Casino Royale, where he's talking about playing cowboys and Indians, and you weren't sure which the good guys, which the bad guys. So that was very interesting. I did notice when David Zaritsky from the Bond Experience was talking about it, there was kind of some discussion about whether that went deeper, and whether in the cast of James Bond characters that we have now become familiar with through Craig's run, like M, like Felix Leiter, like Madeleine, maybe there is an enemy like within that circle, which is kind of an interesting concept. I also just love like the scenes with Jamaica, the boat, everything like that. It's beautiful.
We used to be able to get into a room with the enemy. Now they're just floating in the ether.
That was another really interesting thing, because you've got the briefing room with M, and that's something we haven't really seen in the Craig era to the same extent, so I'm kind of interested. That's old school Bond. Like the exposition dump in M's office was always something I loved about the Bond films. This dude here looks kind of interesting. I think it's the guy with one eye that we saw in the other trailer, but it looks like he's got two eyes here.
She still loves you. Did you know that?
What is it?
You don't know what this is.
Now, I was Blofeld, I think, saying she still loves you. So there's obviously some history between him and Madeleine that continues on. I know, obviously, that Madeleine is Mr. White's daughter, and Blofeld had orchestrated all of that. So they are revisiting that relationship, which I think is kind of interesting. I'm wondering where that's going to go. Another thing David Zaritsky had pointed out was that the scene with Madeleine just then, where James Bond is holding his hand, that he seems completely shocked to see her. So obviously some time has passed since all of that stuff in Italy and Matera and stuff. They were separated for a certain amount of time. I imagine James Bond went to Jamaica, and then they are reunited. It's an interesting. It's so interesting to get these like threads of the story that we can tell from the trailers and see where it goes.
Is she one of them?
I don't know her at all.
There's another one. Is she one of them? What does that mean? Again, that goes back to what Felix was saying about difficult to tell the good guys from the bad guys. Is Madeleine one of them? What does them mean? And then I love the way he goes, I don't know her at all. Because obviously there was some big betrayal in Italy, and he's doing the typical James Bond thing of like emotionally shutting down. It's like, I don't know her at all. But he does.
When her secret finds its way out, it'll be the death of you.
So this is him burning that note. Now, I hadn't registered it. I can't remember who pointed it out, but I think this is the note that Vesper left him, forgive me. And so he's burning it here. So maybe this is the point at which, you know, he finally decides to say goodbye to the memory of Vesper and move on with Madeleine. This might even be like Vesper's resting place. You don't know. She died in Italy. He's in Italy here. This is obviously Matera. So I wonder if that's the significance of this. I completely forgot to mention, when her secret gets out, whose secret is that? I'd originally been thinking maybe that was Judi Dench's M's secret, but I think this clearly has to do with Madeleine. You saw her in a room with Safin. Anyway, so here we go on. I love this stuff. Are you kidding me? Get me a boat and an explosion in a seaplane. I am sorted.
James Bond.
Now, David Zaritsky pointed out that he is not in his rag and bone Henley here. This looks like his tuxedo, and that suggests that whatever's going on with this boat and the explosion and things like that, this is a scene that takes place after the scene we've seen in Cuba when he's wearing a tuxedo.
We both eradicate people to make the world a better place.
I love this as well, because you've got James Bond being a complete, like, stealthy badass with a gun go. And these guys, like, him and Nomi are obviously, like, sneaking into some kind of facility. You've got that fly plane, there's also a boat. It's very, very cool. I love it. And this is interesting, so they must be looking up some kind of research facility, something like that. He's looking around. You can see he's got the earpiece, so he's obviously on the mission. He's wearing the rag and bone Henley, and he's wearing that beautiful sweater. What are the masks up there? The fractured masks. What does that mean? And what are the things in the tanks?
I just want to be a little tidier.
Listen to that car. Oh, Aston Martins they sound so good.
I met your new 00.
And that's Nomi. I'm so into everything about Nomi. Like, look at her right there. Just that outfit. She looks gorgeous. And then she looks like a complete badass as well. And I think guys especially who are really into Bond films, we gravitate towards, I think, a very specific type of woman. I think the female characters who have always made a lasting impression in Bond films have always been the ones who are strong and independent. I mean, if you look through, there's Pussy Galore, there's Tracy, there's Anya from The Spy Who Loved Me, there's Vesper is like the ultimate one. I really love everything they are showing us about Nomi right now. I think she looks absolutely gorgeous. She looks completely styling at all times, and she seems like a 100% thoroughbred badass who can hold her own with James Bond, which I just think is going to be so interesting.
She's a disarming young woman.
You ever flown one of these things before?
Nope.
This is just cool. Oh, I'm so stoked for this as well. I learned to drive in a Land Rover Defender, but it did not look like one of those. It was like a big, beaten-up green farm one. I never tried doing the jump thing with it, though. I don't think it would have done very well. But this scene, just the extremeness of like these huge jumps and things like that. It reminds me of one of the other things I just love about James Bond films, which is, for the most part, Die Another Day notwithstanding, they rely on practical stunts and practical effects, and that's why they look so good, and that's why they get your heart pounding.
Come on, Bond. Where the hell are you?
Ooh, this is beautiful. This is new. I don't know where this is. I think this is Norway. I've been to Norway. And there you've got the fjords and things like that. We know a lot of it is set in Norway, and Norway has like these amazing bridges. I believe at one point, Norway and Sweden did the thing where I think Norway switched from driving on the left-hand side of the road like we do in England to the right-hand side of the road. And they built this amazing bridge that had the flow of traffic. It kind of went up and then did a helix and went down again when you went in Sweden. So the cars that were driving on the left-hand side of the road, when they arrived in Sweden, were automatically on the right-hand side of the road. So I don't know. Norwegians know their bridges.
If we don't do this.
Now this is really interesting. Two things are interesting. Okay, there was the bit of him saying goodbye to Madeleine on the train. Can we talk Casablanca? That iconic scene where Rick is standing in the pouring rain reading that note. Maybe it's something like that. And then, of course, you got here. This looks like a Royal Navy destroyer, and so this is going to be really interesting. I think we saw some shots in the other thing of rockets going up trying to destroy something. So maybe there's some that maybe they've got to like destroy this island or something like that. That's why they're infiltrating it. So I'm kind of excited to see where it goes.
There will be nothing left to save. When you're ready.
Yep.
Now, in my book High Point, I have this whole scene where Marty and his grandpa drink Coca-Cola in Cuba, which is of course illegal, so they have to bring it in from Mexico. It's made with real sugar. It tastes different. And it went down an internet rabbit hole of me researching Cuban sodas. So for some reason, I've always been obsessed with this scene where she is drinking the Cuban soda with a straw. And Darmus, I think her name is, Ama de Armas, she looks fantastic in this. And again, just like Nomi, she's like a butt-kicking woman who can be beautiful and feminine, but at the same time hold her own with Bond and be really, really like effective and dangerous.
You're late.
Can I just have one nice evening, please, before the world explodes?
So I love this where Daniel Craig does his signature thing of tossing something over his shoulder. It can be whatever it is, like the keys to a brand new Aston Martin, a hotel suite, whatever. He just treats it with complete disdain. I love that scene with Q as well, and I'm kind of digging the way they're like really leaning into the Q and Moneypenny and Bond like triumvirate, their like weird friendship. So that's going to be really interesting to watch on screen. And that's it. Oh, well, I am completely stoked. I think this gave us a lot of extra material to look through, and I have to admit, if I compare the US trailer to this new international trailer, I prefer the international trailer now I think about it. I just think it's got a lot more to sink your teeth into, but the two of them together, I'm so stoked for this movie. Anyway, I'm going to wrap this up. I will catch up with you guys later, but yeah, No Time to Die. It's going to be a wild ride.